For purposes of this section, an agent of a foreigner interferes with operations of government if the agent of a foreigner intentionally obstructs, impairs, hinders, or prevents a public officer or any other person occupying a public office from performing his or her functions. Justification: to restrict the bill to only agents of foreigners as prescribed in Clause 2, to define what amounts to interfering with the operations of government in order to comply with the legality principle enumerated under Article 28, Clause 12 of the Constitution, to make the penalty and fine proportionate to the offense. I beg to move, Madam Chair.
Minister.
No objection.
Okwalinga.
Have no objection.
Okwalinga.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, the clarification I wanted to seek from our land Attorney General relates to the matter that concerns the sanctions that we give to, that we have mentioned in the law to somebody who has attempted to influence our policy, especially when it comes to an embassy. Because whereas a legal entity, we can follow up the directors. If it is a foreign individual, we can follow the individual. What about if it's an embassy, a government, a foreign government? Whom do we sanction when it's the foreign government who has actually sponsored or influenced our foreign policy? Do we put sanctions and dismiss them from Uganda? We need to clarify on that. Thank you.
Additional information. Madam Chair, on top of that one, in this very house, it is on record that the persons who attempted either to promote either their foreign policies, I wanted to know, because like homosexuality in this very house, they are citizens of this country. Okay, wait. Okay, maybe let me leave that one. Okay, I could leave that one. Let me have others. Madam Chair. Secondly,
Honorable.
Okay, I will withdraw that one. I will withdraw.
Honorable, I said we needed a legitimate debate at a time of homosexuality. Honorable Fox Odo is married to 2 beautiful women. He's not a homosexual. Okay. He does not promote. And
he's not a foreign agent.
And he's withdraw. Madam
Chair,
in this house.
I beg to withdraw that one on the basis that he's married to 2 women. But Madam Chair, the last one. Madam Chair, this one is a bit very complicated because there are many churches in this country, many churches coming up in Uganda. Some of them in particular tell people not to go for formal treatment. Some of them instruct citizens not to go to hospital to get formal medication. People eventually stay and die in churches. And just a moment, I'm just saying because you don't know whether the Bible is foreign. We want to be sure whether the Bible, my land colleague Attorney General.
There is one called Kibwetere, you remember?
Yes. They block Uganda.
You mentioned the name.
They block Uganda through faith from going to seek medication.
Now, you mentioned the name Kibwetere.
Like Kibwetere. They are blocking citizens of this country. My land Attorney General, my dear land colleague, my dear land Attorney General, I wanted to know, are these foreign interests, where does the Bible belong? So that we know whether they are agents of foreigners. I beg.
Yes,
Madam Chair, maybe Attorney General will clarify this too.
Moses.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to seek indulgence of the Attorney General. Instead of saying intentions, say knowingly influence. We use the word knowingly.
You knowingly that?
Yeah, thank you.
And that is what Chair. I said at the beginning.
Chair, I needed some clarity from the Attorney General on this.
Yes, it is Clause 12. instead of saying intention or intended, you say unknowingly influenced. They are not the same, but can they be used interchangeably? That's what I'm seeking.
But how would you say that? How would you determine that I was acting on behalf of
Eji, what's your comment on this?
Chair, Eji could respond at once.
Do we move by what?
Yes, we can use the knowingly. I agree. I have no objection to that.
Whatever intention.
Yeah, you can say knowingly or intentionally.
Yes.
Chair.
Knowingly. Knowingly, wherever intentionally appears.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
Attorney General needs to clarify this. I'm a little bit lost on what amounts to disrupting government operations. For example, our policy is that citizens must be treated here. But we have a number of well-to-do government officials who choose to go for medication out of the country. It means they will be promoting the foreign interests of that country. So
Honorable members,
so
I put a question. I put a question that clause 12 be amended as proposed and knowingly replaces intentionally wherever it appears. Those in the favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 12 as amended.
I put a question that clause 12 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 13.
Prohibition of economic sabotage.
Madam Chair, the committee proposes to amend clause 13 as follows. Clause 13 is substituted with the following. Prohibition of economic sabotage is the head note. An agent of a foreigner who knowingly publishes false information or participates in any disruptive act or activity that weakens, undermines, or damages the economic system or viability of the country to cause economic disruption, insecurity, or instability, commits an offense of economic sabotage and is liable on conviction in the case of a legal entity to a fine not exceeding 100,000 currency points, and in the case of an individual to a fine not exceeding 50,000 currency points, or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 10 years, or both. Justification: to restrict the bill to only agents of foreigners as prescribed in clause 2, to provide for criminal intent in the commission of the offense, and to make the penalty proportionate to the offense. I beg to move, Madam Chair.
Minister.
No objection.
AG.
No objection.
Kanya, I'm tired. I put a question that clause 13 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 13 as amended.
I put a question that clause 13 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 14.
Clause 14. I put a question that clause 14 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 15.
I put a question that clause 15 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 16.
Clause 16.
Madam Chair, we propose to amend clause 16 as follows. Clause 16 of the bill is amended in subclause 1 by deleting all the words appearing after the word applicant, by inserting immediately after subclause 1 the following. The department shall within 14 days from the date the application is forwarded to the department under subsection 1 conduct inquiries to ascertain the suitability of the applicant and the application and the applicant and make a recommendation to the minister. In subclause 2, in paragraph A, by deleting the words mental and physical health. by substituting for paragraph B the following. In the case of an applicant who is an individual, whether the applicant has been convicted of an offense and sentenced to a term of imprisonment without the option of a fine. In the case of a company or any other legal entity, whether a director of the applicant has been convicted of an offense which renders him or her incapable of being appointed director in accordance with the applicable law, by inserting immediately after subclause 5 the following. The department shall, in considering an application under this section, comply with the rules of natural justice. Justification: to harmonize the requirement to conduct a mental health and physical health examination on a person applying to be an agent of a foreigner, since a person's mental and physical health have nothing to do with his or her ability to be an agent of a foreigner. Subjecting an applicant to mental and physical health examination when he or she is not suffering from a mental illness conflicts with the Mental Health Act, and to prescribe the time frame within which an application shall be determined by the department, and to ensure rules of natural justice are complied with during the application for a certificate. I beg to move.
Honorable Minister, where they say the department shall within 14 days from the date the application is forwarded by the department, why don't we say received by the department? Because if it is forwarded, say by email, it can take more time, and then you'll not have any evidence of receipt.
I agree, Chair.
So you amend as you.
So we shall substitute forwarding with receipt. Receiving.
Received
By
by
the department.
the department. Yes. AJ.
Thank you. Madam Chair, on 17.3, we seem to be limiting our inquiries, like the department in the process of conducting the inquiries after Section 2 will require any person, department or agency of government to furnish information. Why are we limiting this information to be given only within the country? For example, if a company, we are trying to register a company, and this company has also operated in other countries, why can't we expand our information? And we include that those countries can also give us information. Why are we limiting only? Because 17.3. Because
we have other laws that can be used to get that information. Yes, Moses.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In my opinion, that clause 16 seems to be an operational matter. This is what would come with instructions or guidelines that would operationalize this act. Because when you talk of the process, these are processes of carrying out a registration. It is more operational than making it appear in the act here. So I would request that this is done away with, and then when you get the guidelines that will operationalize this act, you include that operational activity. This is just so operational.
It is just for avoidance of doubt and limit discretionary powers. Yes. Let it be in the law.
Just
yes.
A short clarification,
I
Madam
hope
Chair.
I'm not responding for you.
Madam Chair, I just was concerned in the process of obtaining a registration. The government issues a certificate. Are there any fees for this person coming to register? Because I don't see
that is
it
operational regulations.
It will come under that, okay.
Yes.
Because again, another concern is, if we try to prevent somebody from registering as a foreign agent, won't we be encouraging people to operate underground? We should open it and they should just all come and register. We should lure them to register so that we get all to know all these agents. Other than restricting.
That will still come under procedures. I mean.
Thank you, Right Honorable Chair. Actually, the law is giving them is asking them to register. That's what the
Yes.
law is doing. And I agree with the minister's proposal that where we had forwarded, be deleted, forwarded to, and with the clause read
Received by.
that the department shall within 14 days from the date the application is received by the department. I beg you to submit.
I put a question that clause 16 be amended as proposed by the committee and further amended by the minister. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 16 as amended.
I put a question that clause 16 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 17.
17, certificate of registration.
Madam Chair, the committee proposes to amend clause 17 as follows. Clause 17 of the bill is amended by substituting for clause 1 the following. The minister shall within 14 days from the date of receipt of the recommendation of the department consider the recommendation and may, if satisfied that the application and the applicant meet the requirements of section 16, issue a certificate of registration to the applicant to act as an agent of a foreigner. And in subclause 2, by deleting all words appearing after the word necessary. Justification to harmonize clauses 16 and 17 in order to ensure that the minister only considers the recommendation of the department when making a decision to grant a certificate of registration rather than opening up the application afresh. The amendment of subclause 2 to bring finality to the application and the conditions applicable to the certificate. I beg to move.
Minister.
No objection.
AG.
No objection, Right Honorable Chair.
I put a question that clause 17 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 17 as amended.
I put a question that clause 17 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 18.
18.
Madam Chair, the committee proposes to amend clause 18 by substituting for subclause 1 the following. The minister may refuse to issue a certificate of registration if the department recommends to the minister to deny the application, or the minister is not satisfied that the application or the applicant meets the requirements of section 16. And by substituting for subclause 2 the following. Where the minister refuses to issue a certificate of registration under subsection 1, the minister shall within 14 days from the date of making the decision inform the applicant in writing stating the reasons for the refusal. Justification to harmonize the provision with clause 16 and 17 to remove additional grounds for refusal of a certificate of registration, which grounds are not considered at the time of application, and to require the minister to make a decision on the basis of the recommendation of the department, and also to provide for a time frame within which the minister has to act on a recommendation from the department. I beg to move.
Minister.
No objection.
AG.
No objection.
I put a question that clause 18 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 18 as amended.
I put a question that clause 18 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 19.
Madam Chair, clause 19 is proposed to be amended as follows. Clause 19 of the bill is amended by inserting immediately after subclause 2 the following. The minister shall consider the application for renewal of a certificate of registration and make a decision within 14 days from the date of receipt of the application for renewal. The minister shall, in considering an application under this section, comply with the rules of natural justice. Justification to prescribe the time frame within which an application for renewal of a certificate of registration shall be made, and to ensure rules of natural justice are complied with during the renewal processes of a certificate. I beg to move.
Minister.
I concur.
AG.
No objection.
I put a question that clause 19 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 19 as amended.
I put a question that clause 19 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 20.
20.
Madam Chair, clause 20 is proposed to be amended as follows. In subsection 2, by deleting paragraph C, and by inserting immediately after subclause 2 the following. The minister shall, while exercising any powers in this section, comply with the rules of natural justice. Justification: a consequential amendment arising from the amendment in clause 18, and to ensure compliance with the rules of natural justice during revocation and suspension of a certificate of registration. I beg to move.
Minister.
No objection.
AG.
No objection, Right Honorable Chair.
I put a question that clause 20 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 20 as amended.
I put a question that clause 20 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 21.
Clause 21.
Madam Chair, the committee proposes to amend clause 21 in subclause 1 by deleting the words for other, by deleting the words or other person receiving any funding from a foreigner, and by deleting subclause 2. And in subclause 3, by substituting for the words a person, the words an agent of a foreigner. Justification: to restrict the bill to only agents of foreigners as prescribed in clause 2. And subclause 2 is proposed for deletion since it infringes on the right to privacy and data protection laws.
Minister.
No objection.
AG.
No objection, Right Honorable Chair.
I put a question that clause 21 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 21 as amended.
I put a question that clause 21 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 22.
I put a Chair.
Yeah. Madam Chair, the head note for clause 22 is restrictions on funding from foreigners. And it is proposed to be amended in subclause 1 by deleting the words a person or, deleting the word solicit, inserting immediately after the word without the words declaring the funds to, deleting the words the written approval of, by substituting for the subclause 2 the following. An agent of a foreigner who obtains or receives directly or indirectly the funds, financial support, donations, loans, or other assistance from a foreigner without declaring funds in accordance with subsection 1 commits an offense and is liable on conviction in the case of a legal entity to a fine not exceeding 100,000 currency points, and in the case of an individual to a fine not exceeding 50,000 currency points, or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 10 years, or both. And in subclause 3, by deleting the words the person or, and substituting for the words any person the word the agent of a foreigner. And in subclause 4, by substituting the words obtaining the written approval the words declaring the funds. Justification: to restrict the bill to only agents of foreigners as prescribed in clause 2, to substitute the requirement to seek for the approval of the minister every time an agent of a foreigner receives funds from abroad for more than 20,000 currency points with the requirement to declare the funds to the minister and provide for penalty and fine proportionate to the offense. I beg to move, Madam Chair.
Action 8. Minister.
An objection.
AG.
No objection, Right Honourable Chair.
I put a question.
Madam Chair, under the current legal regime, the anti-money laundering, the BOU guideline instructions to commercial banks, every fund you receive, you have to submit all the documentation, and then the banks clear, and they keep record. To now, for us, and this is a small amount of money, to seek approval of a minister, really going to create and block investment and trade. It's a serious matter, Madam Chair.
First of all, it is not approval, and secondly, you must put the issue intent. What is the intention of this money coming? Is it for yes, Moses?
Honorable Kanya, we wanted to limit the discretion of the minister, which was talked about, by removing approval. You just have to declare.
Okay. Then.
Yeah, Madam Chair, mine is just for consistency's sake. Clause 22, restriction of funding from foreigners. This time you are calling them foreigners. In most other instances, you are calling them a foreigner. So we would still have to use the word a foreigner instead of using foreigners this time for consistency.
For consistency. Yes, foreigner.
I agree.
I put a question that clause 22 be amended as proposed and further amended by Honorable Moses Alepel. Those in favor say aye, to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 22 as amended.
I put a question that clause 22 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 23.
Chair.
Madam Chair, clause 23 is amended as follows. In subclause 1, by deleting the words a person or, by substituting the word 100, the word 50, and by substituting the word 20, the word 10. In subclause 2, by substituting the word person, the words agent of a foreigner. Justification to restrict the bill to only agents of foreigners as prescribed in clause 2 and to provide for penalty and fine proportionate to the offense. I beg to move.
Minister.
No objection, Chair.
AG.
No objection.
I put a question that clause 23 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 23 as amended.
I put a question that clause 23 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 24.
24.
Madam Chair, the committee proposes to amend clause 24 as follows. Clause 24 is amended by deleting subclause 2. Justification: the disapplication of the Public Finance Management Act contravenes Section 28 of the Public Finance Management Act. I beg to move.
Minister.
I concur.
AG.
I concur.
I put a question that clause 24 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 24 as amended.
I put a question that clause 24 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 25.
Chair.
Madam Chair, the committee proposes to amend clause 25 as follows. By substituting for subclause 1 the following. A person, a supervised institution, shall not pay out any money to an agent of a foreigner without the agent of a foreigner, A, declaring the source of funds, and B, submitting proof of declaration of funds. And in subclause 2, by substituting for the word minister, the words relevant regulator. By substituting for subclause 3, the following. A supervised institution that contravenes subsection 1 commits an offense and liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 200,000 currency points. Justification. This is a consequential amendment arising from the amendments made to clause 22, and to make subclause 3 a penal provision, breach of which attracts a penalty, and to comply with the Public Finance Management Act in relation to payment of funds into the consolidated fund. I beg to move.
No objection.
AG,
No objection.
I put a question that clause 25 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 25 as amended.
I put a question that clause 25 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 26.
Madam Chair, the committee proposes to amend clause 26 by substituting for clause 2 the following. An agent of a foreigner who fails to submit returns to the minister as required in subsection 1 commits an offense and is liable on conviction in the case of a legal entity to a fine not exceeding 100,000 currency points, and in the case of an individual to a fine not exceeding 50,000 currency points, or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 10 years, or both. I beg to move. Unfortunately, we don't have the justification. It is, I think it is a consequential amendment as a result of our earlier amendments.
But it's clear from them, from the penal provisions, they want to make it prohibited.
Minister.
No objection.
AG.
No objection. Right, Honorable Chair.
It's a consequential amendment.
Just the reason that we were dealing with this was the committee reported that they were trying to reduce and rationalize the penalties. So that's what they've done.
I put a question that clause 26 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 26 as amended.
I put a question that clause 26 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 27.
I put a question that clause 27 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 28.
Chair.
Madam Chair, clause 28 is amended in subclause 1 by inserting immediately after the word may the words upon obtaining a court order, and by deleting that the word that appears to him or her. In subclause 2, by substituting for the words a person the words an agent of a foreigner. Justification to restrict the bill to agents of foreigners as prescribed in clause 2, and to require an authorized person to obtain a court order before inspecting premises of an agent of a foreigner.
Minister.
Objection.
AG.
No objection, Right Honorable Chair.
I put a question that clause 28 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 28 as amended.
I put a question that clause 28 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 29.
29. Clause 29, I put a question that clause 29 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say it. The contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 30.
Chair.
Madam Chair, the committee proposes to amend clause 30 by inserting immediately after the word may the words in consultation of the minister responsible for finance, and by numbering the existing provision as subclause 1 and inserting immediately after subclause 1 the following: the statutory instrument referred to in subsection 1 shall be laid before Parliament for approval. Justification to require the Minister of Finance to be consulted before amendment on the value of a currency point, and to require the SI statutory instrument to be approved by Parliament. I beg to move, Madam Chair.
Minister.
Right Honorable Chair and colleagues, we propose that clause 30 stands part of the bill as it were to read,
Yes.
the minister may by statutory instrument with the approval of cabinet amend the schedule to this act. Right Honorable Chair and members, the currency points are not determined by a single minister.
True.
A currency point is a unit created for complete public consumption and use. So the moment cabinet has approved it, it must be brought here, the currency point must be changed, and then the amendment of the schedule would be done. I beg to submit.
It actually has effect on so many laws. I put a question that clause 30 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
The schedule.
Schedule. I put a question that the schedule stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Title.
I put a question that the title stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Motion for the House to resume.
Honorable Minister.
Chair, I beg to move that the House do resume and the Committee of the whole House do report thereto.
I put a question that the House resumes and the Committee of the whole House reports thereto. Those in favor say aye, to the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Hey, what happened?
Report of the Committee of the whole
Please
House.
have a seat. Please have a seat.
Report of the Committee of the whole House.
Honorable Minister.
Chair and honorable members, I beg to report that the Committee of the whole House has considered the bill entitled The Protection of Sovereignty Bill 2026 and passed clauses 14, 15, 27, 29 and 30, the schedule and title, passed with amendments clauses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 and 28.
Motion.
I beg to move.
Motion for adoption of the report of the Committee of the whole House.
Moses, what do you want?
Actually, clause 28, where you
members.
need a minister to get a court order to go and inspect. I just want to give you an example. We have agencies like NEMA. When they have to inspect premises, of persons that they have a matter of concern is they don't need to seek a court order. This will bog down the operations of that particular activity. Thank you.
The minister will abuse those powers. You want, Honorable members, I want to be fair to everybody. Okay? I am putting a question as to whether we go for a committal on clause 28. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The nays have it.
Motion for adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole House.
Honorable Minister.
Chair and honorable members, I beg to move that the House adopts the report of the Committee of the Whole House.
I put a question that a report of the Committee of the Whole House be adopted by this august House. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. Yes, honorable members, don't mind about that. Some members are doing accountability. So it's just prudent enough for one to do accountability by
Bill, third reading, the Protection of Sovereignty Bill 2026.
Chair and honorable members, I beg to move that the bill entitled The Protection of Sovereignty Bill 2026 be read the third time and do pass into law.
Honorable members, my quorum still stands at 353. I now put a question that the Protection of Sovereignty Bill 2026 be read the third time and do pass. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act titled The Protection of Sovereignty Act 2026.
The title has been settled and the bill is passed. Honorable members, I want to thank you for the good work you've done, but I also want to thank God for the patience that he gave me. That patience was World War. That was World War patience. But I want to thank all of you for being here to pass this bill. And you've stayed here up to this time. Madam Vice President, Prime Minister, the front row, we are forever grateful. AG, you've done a great job with the minister, together with the committee members. The committee members, we want to thank you and thank all the members of Parliament. Honorable Bua, you're an amazing person. Good job. I told you all I needed was a number. And you gave me the number. I have done your work.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues. This has been a monumental achievement, to say the least. some records, the record need to be put right. Right Honorable Speaker, we were accused unfairly. We gave sufficient time to every member. We were stretched to the limit. I am happy that finally the bill has passed.
Thank you. Honorable members.
We want to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the guidance. We want to thank the lead of government business. We want to thank the government chief whip. We want to thank the Attorney General and the minister, the sponsor. But particularly, Right Honorable Speaker, your committees. The Committee of Defense and Internal Affairs, the Committee of Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, they have gone an extra mile. We put in a lot of time.
This is an historic bill because it is our last bill in the 11th Parliament. And because it is an historic bill, and that's why I am saying you're all wonderful people. And I thank you so much. And may the good Lord bless all of you. House adjourned, Sunday.